So much for GOP unity. Ted Cruz refusing to endorse Donald Trump in his convention speech and getting booed by angry delegates. I want to bring in someone who did not get booed, and that's Pastor Darrell Scott. He's a supporter. And back with me, of course, my political dream team as well. You were good.
Thanks, man.
You were good.
Appreciate that.
Do you know that? I think you got the biggest applause tonight. Even bigger than that guy, what's his name, is running for president? Mike?
The boss.
The boss? The boss? Let's play a little bit, and then we'll talk about it.
I can think of no stronger leader who will place their left hand on a Bible that they believe in, raise their right hand, and solemnly swear to faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and to the best of his ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States than Donald J. Trump. Come on.
Well, whoa, Lord, you were preaching.
Up in there. Yeah. It's like throwing a fish in water.
How'd you feel?
That's what I do every week. They tried to, assign me a speechwriter. I said, man, I write speeches every week. I don't need a speechwriter.
Wait a minute.
No brag, just a fact.
No. They didn't approve your speech.
They didn't give you a speechwriter.
No, they didn't tweak it. They let mine fly.
Did you plagiarize?
A little bit from the Bible. I took some from the Constitution. I plagiarized the Pledge of Allegiance, and then I took some from the Bible.
You got cheers. Ted Cruz got boos. What was your reaction to that huge moment?
Can I be frank?
Yeah.
Ted Cruz is a clown, and he did what clowns do. He's a clown. I mean, what do you do some classless, tasteless, suicidal, stupid stuff like that for? I mean, to be honest.
Tell us how you really
came to my
really
church
feel.
It was stupid. I don't understand. You know what it was? It was a subliminal message. Because remember during his campaign when he was mano a mano with Trump, he would say, vote your conscience. Grandpa Munster would say, vote your conscience.
Are you calling him Grandpa
Yes,
Munster?
I'm calling Ted Cruz your Grandpa Munster. And I'm not going to call Paul Ryan Eddie. But wow. Remember he kept saying, vote your conscience?
Right.
So he's trying to subliminally put that message over. What he was saying was, don't vote for Donald Trump. And that was classic.
But that's what I was saying. On paper, you may not have caught that. I'm just, maybe I'm not giving them enough credit. But if you just read it off the paper and you saw vote your conscience, you wouldn't until he actually delivered it up there. You said it was subliminal.
Yeah.
I think that you're onto something.
Yeah. He was trying to subliminally influence the crowd to not support Donald Trump.
Would you support him as a future Republican candidate?
Who? Ted Cruz?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have supported him if he didn't do that. He comes across as fake.
Right.
I mean,
He's
you
not
even
genuine.
had members of the Texas
Fake.
delegation. Dana Bash was out there. They were clad in Ted Cruz paraphernalia, the Texas delegation, and they said, we hope our candidate who we supported endorses Donald Trump because, believe it or not, there are a lot of Republicans who really want to beat Hillary Clinton, and you do that by supporting Donald Trump. It's a binary choice. It's pretty simple.
Here's the part I don't like. John Kasich, Ted Cruz, they use their Christianity as part of their platform. And you flat out lied. You signed a pledge, your Christianity, your pledge.
That wasn't a pledge to God. It was a pledge to the RNC.
It doesn't matter. If it's
You don't think the situation changed? No, I want to ask you
as a
something.
Christian, I should keep
Because
my
Donald
word.
Trump said some really awful things that I don't think men of good character and standing should stand by. Does anything
He
that
didn't
Donald
break
Trump has
his
said?
word.
Donald Trump didn't even want to sign that pledge.
But he signed it, and the pledge
this
was
pledge
the
on
pledge
paper
was
is more
against
But he
important
also
than calling someone a
threatened
liar.
not to abide by the pledge too, even
He
later
just said,
on
I
in
want
the
to be
campaign.
treated fairly.
Okay, but
That's
he said
all.
if he didn't. But what does fairly mean?
Would you
That's
say
subjective.
this? Would you say
That's
this?
subjective.
Would you say this? Yes, you're right. That's subjective. But would you say this? That pledge was targeted against Donald Trump because they were afraid that he might try to do a third-party run
They
if he
sign a
didn't
pledge
win.
every time.
So they did the pledge,
But if you have
specifically
legitimate-
targeted the pledge against him, and it bit him in the butt.
But if you have legitimate concerns after you've learned more about Donald Trump, about how he would act as a commander-in-chief,
But if
do you
you're
think
the-
upholding a pledge to a political party is more important than warning
Amanda,
people about the
we know-
Then don't
dangers that
sign
he
it
might
in the
pose
first
to
place. If
America?
you're the
But you
Christian-
didn't know
Amen.
everything you knew about
If
Trump.
But
We know more about Trump than we know
can
about them.
But can I just say something?
Come on.
I mean, using Christianity to protect a lot of the verbiage, a lot of the vitriol, I'm not done yet. A lot of the divisiveness that Donald Trump has espoused throughout the campaign sounds a bit hypocritical.
I'm not trying to do that.
That's what you
That's
just
what
said.
No, I did not. What I said was Ted
He's talking
Cruz.
about the pledge.
So Ted Cruz isn't
and
a
John
Christian, so it doesn't matter if
Kasich
Donald Trump is.
campaigned they used Christianity as a major part of their campaign.
Because Donald Trump
I'm the
did
Christian. He's not.
But we don't judge
we
other
saw
people
because
like
Donald-
that.
But because Christianity was not a pillar of Donald Trump's campaign, it's okay if he strays from it.
When did he stray from it?
We can go down the litany of whether or not he was talking about Megyn Kelly, or whether or not he was talking about women on this side or that side, or whether or not he was talking about. Yeah,
Did he break his word?
Is that your only? I mean, is that?
That's the topic that we're talking
what he
about
did?
right
He
here.
did.
We're not going down the line.
You know what his
naming
campaign- his
everything
campaign-
Donald Trump ever
his-
did.
his
We're
cam-
talking
One
about
at a time, one at a
specific
time.
thing, and that was the pledge
his
that Ted
campaign-
Cruz
his campaign
signed.
broke-
He didn't sign the pledge.
His campaign
he lied
broke
to
his
the
word.
Republican
His
Party.
campaign broke his word on the first night. You
He
know what they
lied
did?
to the Republican
They lied
Party.
to the American public because they plagiarized and then they lied about it.
Who plagiarized?
You didn't get the memo?
No, I watched the video of Barack Obama plagiarizing.
He did not
That's
plagiarize.
what I watched.
Just went through it.
It's always
There we go. Let's go back to
Barack Obama
2008.
plagiarizing.
it's so rich.
just went through
It's
this.
so rich to me when I
Okay,
hear Hillary
that's
Clinton
what
surrogates
it's so
talking
rich.
about lies when that FBI.
But hold on.
Lies.
Let them. These two are talking. These two are
No.
talking.
I get it. No. I thought your speech was great tonight. I
It was
was
wonderful.
very, very proud. I mean, I have to give you that. But I kind of have a question, though.
Come on.
I mean, because one of the things that's been going on amongst African Americans in this country right now, we're having a serious discussion about criminal justice reform. And I felt like you, in that position, had an awesome opportunity to lay out Donald Trump's criminal justice reform plan. And
That wasn't my place to do that. It's Donald
But
Trump's
what is
place to lay out his
what is
criminal
it?
justice.
What is it?
We're discussing things with him now.
What is it?
I know the reason they're in this.
What is it?
Wait a minute. Why do we need a reform?
What is it?
Why do we need the reform?
We
Because
need a criminal.
Hillary and the bill locked us up.
Answer the question.
Listen,
What is Donald Trump's?
That's not my place to tell
Do you
you
know
what
it?
Donald Trump's. What's Hillary's?
Oh, we can go de-escalate, military de-escalation.
What's Hillary's? Lock up black
No,
folks?
no,
Listen,
it's not. It's
I've got-
de-escalation.
I've got
Wait, one at a time.
I've
If
got-
you ask
I've
him a
got-
question, let him answer. Let him
I've
answer.
got a
Question.
family.
Let him answer.
They
Let him
did
answer.
120
You asked me-
straight days
Pastor.
in the hole
Pastor.
for a
Well,
nonviolent.
Let him
then why
answer.
don't we talk about unraveling mass incarceration? Why don't we talk about implicit bias training? Why don't we talk about de-escalation? Why don't we talk about demilitarizing our law enforcement? Why don't we talk about community policing?
Those are your issues tonight?
No, those are her.
You got to
asked me what her
understand.
plan
Watch
was, and
this.
I asked you a simple
But watch
question.
this. I wasn't standing up there to represent the black race. I'm
That's
standing
fine.
up there to endorse Donald Trump. I didn't endorse on behalf of the black race. I endorsed on my behalf.
That's fine, but I'm
Okay,
just
then,
saying
so
that
I don't have to stand
there
up and speak.
there are issues that directly
what
affect.
one person's passion is not another.
That's not
And
one
I've had
person's
enough,
passion.
I've had both my brothers been in the penitentiary. Both
Well, then
my
you should
nephews
expect
been-
that from Donald Trump.
I shouldn't do nothing.
That's a
And I
problem.
should do that just
That's a
because I've
problem.
had criminals in my family.
That's a problem.
It's not a problem.
If you can't hold Donald Trump to a standard where you think that he can represent people who
Hold
look like
Hillary
you and I,
Clinton
that's
to
a
that
problem.
same standard.
Oh,
She's
I
the
do
one
every
locking
single
them up.
day. You know what her
Well, what
first-
good did it do?
You know what her first?
It
You know
ain't
what her
done
first
no
speech
good.
was?
They locking them up.
Because I can hold her accountable for mass incarceration. I can hold her accountable
And
for the
what
94
did
crime
you
bill.
held her accountable?
Oh
What-
yes,
what
because
did
you know
it
what her
achieve?
first. You know
What
what her
did it
first.
achieve?
You know what her first speech
What
was?
did it achieve?
You can't even name what Donald Trump's
did-
criminal
I don't
justice.
have to name-
Because it's not existent.
It's Donald Trump's
Hang
dog
on.
name.
Okay, hold
not
on.
mine.
You
That man
don't
was
have to name it,
campaigning.
but honestly,
gotta
do you
get
know
Don
what it
King
is?
in here.
Do I know
Does he have? Does he
He's
have a
working
platform?
on one.
That's upsetting.
We're
That's
even,
absurd.
you know what else? We're even
That's
working
absurd.
on one to reintegrate ex-felons back into America.
Oh,
We
you
have a
just working on
program.
that?
We have a program to reintegrate. Is Donald Trump president?
Thank God, no.
Is he?
No.
So he can't implement it anyway.
But he can have a
Stand
plan.
by.
Okay,
Hold on.
because
Pause.
we haven't
Pause.
heard it yet doesn't
Pause.
mean he doesn't have
Pause.
one.
We're coming back with these two, and I'm going to get some popcorn. Back now with Pastor Darrell Scott, a Trump supporter, and Bakari in this corner. In the blue corner.
And I'm ducking.
Bakari Sellers in the red corner. We've got Pastor Darrell Scott. But seriously, so I thought a good question that you answered somewhat, but I think you guys were kind of talking over each other. Do you feel any obligation as an African American to talk about the issue of criminal justice reform or anything like that?
Actually, we have a lot of.
When you're up on that stage tonight.
Well, on the stage, no, they give you a certain amount of time, and they tweak what you're going to say, and I had to stay on point. The one thing I didn't want to do was deviate from what they asked me to do. They asked me to do what I did, and I did it. But that wasn't
but some of the
my
other speakers
platform
spoke
to
about
try.
that.
Maybe that was part of their format. I wasn't there for that purpose. But I will say this. We've had a number of meetings with Mr. Trump, and in those meetings, we discuss issues that are germane to the African American community. You know, we've discussed Black Lives Matter with him. We've discussed police shootings.
What
Way
does he
back
say?
in last November, you know
What
what he
does he
said? He
say?
said something I thought was very insightful from him. And this was almost close to a year ago. He said, I wonder why the police are shooting to kill rather than shooting to wound if they feel that the use of deadly force is necessary. And so we had that discussion with him, and I thought it was very insightful for him to say that if you feel the deadly force is necessary, why shoot to kill? Shoot to wound.
That doesn't make any sense. I mean, if you feel deadly force is necessary, you use deadly force. But I think even more importantly,
Don't tell me what I said don't make sense. It does make sense.
The problem that I think we have.
Every crime does not require death.
Well,
So don't say that.
But isn't that, isn't that the whole raison d'etre of Black Lives Matter? That
shoot to
every
disable.
crime doesn't require death?
I think that's the point that
shoot to
we're
disable.
I mean, if you're going to use deadly force, use deadly force. But my point of the
So you're
my
saying
point
that
is,
the police should kill black people?
Not at all. What
did you just
let
say?
him say it.
I'm
Let him say it.
I'm actually telling you, I think African Americans deserve the benefit of their humanity, and I don't think that there needs to be any shooting whatsoever. I think that the fact that they need to de-escalate, they need to de-escalate the situation because you have people like
because you have
people
is necessary.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that you have incidents like Dylan Roof, for example. That is the clearest example I can point, who just murdered 9 people, who the officers knew was strapped. And they pulled up on him, and they arrested him without incident. But you have Alton Sterling, who was selling CDs, had been selling CDs before, who ended up dead. I mean, this goes on and on and on. But my challenge is not just to you by any stretch, because, it takes a lot to go up there in front of 20 million people and deliver a speech and knock it home and have people cheering and chanting your name. But I just think we have a responsibility that's larger than that, because I think that there has to be a message about how you uplift communities for people of color. That's all I'm saying.
Go ahead.
That might be true, but tonight wasn't the night for that.
That's fair.
And that's
fair. But if you can promise us,
the purpose of the platform.
And we can move
and
on.
with me pastoring a church and knowing about having crowds and having someone and giving somebody the microphone and asking them to do a specific duty, you don't take advantage of that.
If you can promise us that there's going to be a plan for criminal justice reform, if there's going to be a plan where you reinvigorate and pump economic stimuluses into urban communities, if you can do that, because we haven't seen that yet.
We've talked to Mr. Trump about this. He's talking about providing tax incentives for businesses to relocate into the inner city.
Here's the thing: we've heard from so many speakers that have come up there that said, Blue Lives Matter. Of course, Blue Lives Matter. We know that. But they think that it's mutually exclusive, that if you say Black Lives Matter, then you mean blue lives don't matter. Then you mean other lives don't matter.
You know what I would say? Black Lives Matter too.
Yes.
That's what I would say.
What is so hard to understand? But what is so hard to understand?
But not Black Lives Matter exclusively.
Okay, I'm with
Black
you on
Lives
that.
Matter.
But what is so hard for people to understand? Why do people think there are bad journalists? You've had bad teachers. There are bad preachers. If you say that there are bad police officers, people, oh my gosh, you're anti-police. Doesn't mean you're anti-police. It means you want to improve police. Mm-hmm. So then why is that? Why do people come to that conclusion, mostly among the crowd who is up there? Why do they come to that conclusion? If you criticize police in any way, then you're anti-police.
No, I just don't think you should generalize.
Yeah,
I don't think you should generalize and criticize all police and say all police are bad.
But no one is saying all police. No one has ever said that.
You know what I think is sad, though? You know what I think is sad? I mean, I know the names for about the last 8 years of the black people that have been killed by police. I don't know one of those police officers' name. And I mean, that's my fault. I'm not blaming it, but the names of the dead police officers aren't as publicized as the names of the dead black guys.
That's exactly right. Just like Ferguson, a great example where we rushed to judgment. The president sent the Justice Department to Ferguson only to find that Darren Wilson was innocent.
But what does that have to do with
the commander?
That has nothing to do with what we're saying.
Yes, it has everything to do with what we're saying,
no,
Don.
It doesn't.
Because
Kaylee,
people rushed to judgment.
But
the
I got a
Alton
question.
Sterling case.
Can I ask one question?
Hold on, Bakari. Hold on.
There.
You're giving an extreme example of something that really has nothing to do with what we're saying. The process then worked in Ferguson. The officer was exonerated. It doesn't mean that there still aren't police departments that need to be cleaned up around the country. Ferguson, which is one of them. So you keep giving this example,
here's the problem. The
She's
highest officer,
She's answering
the
why
highest law
when we hear
enforcement
Black Lives
officer-
Matters for other people, it makes us angry because when you look at a Ferguson,
why would it make you angry if someone says
because
a
it
life
infers
matters?
that people don't
not
think
about
Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter.
It should make you angry that a life matters.
Look, of course, all lives matter. What I'm saying is, stop. The language that comes out is so negative towards police, and the Black Lives Matter movement that was so vocal in Ferguson took the side of a bully who bullied a minority shopkeeper, beat up a cop, and then got killed because of his own actions.
So let me ask you
the
this.
hands up, don't shoot was a lie.
You're using the same argument for police. You're using the same argument that you're saying, but that people in Black Lives Matter say about police, and you're saying, okay, you're painting the whole movement as negative when you think that the people in Black Lives Matter are painting all police officers negative, and that's not what's happening.
The name Black Lives Matter.
You're talking past each other.
All lives matter. It's just saying we know what you're insinuating.
What are we insinuating?
Because you're insinuating the the young black men are targets and the police are racist and they target
Nobody's
young black
saying
men.
that. That's why
not.
you're missing it.
That's
That
right.
is why.
I
Hold on,
tune on
because
TV and I watch Black Lives Matters.
Let me tell you, as a young black male, let me tell you what it means, so we can have an
And I'm
education.
not a young black male?
So,
All right, go ahead.
no, you're not. So we have an educational moment here because there is a very specific pain that many African American males, just people, because Sandra Bland was not an African American male. I have to say her name as well. That are going through, and you can bring up the example of Ferguson all you want, right?
Not
but I
just
can bring,
that.
but I
Not
can,
just
but I
that.
can tell you, it's not just Eric Gardner. It's not just Walter Scott. It's not just Tamir Rice. The list goes on and on.
When
and
you
on.
have, look, there are things that need to be looked at. No doubt about it. There are racial issues in our criminal
Don't say
justice
but.
system.
Don't say but, because it
But when
negates
you
everything
have,
you say before.
when you have people taking to the streets yelling, "We want dead cops," and then a week later,
So
no, let
is
me
the
finish,
Tea- is
please.
the
I
Tea
let
Party
you finish,
racist because
please,
people say
Bakari,
that?
let me
Go
finish
ahead,
my
please,
point.
go ahead.
You have them chanting, a whole group of people, "We want dead cops," and 1 week later, Wen Jin Liu dies along with his partner, dies slaughtered, assassinated. You have them yelling, "Pigs in a blanket, frying like bacon," a group of people shouting this, and then you have police officer blood spilled on the streets. All lives matter, Black lives matter, white lives matter, all
But that's
lives
we're not. We don't
matter.
have. We don't have a question right now about the value of young white males' lives in this country. But there is a serious question about the value of young black males'
And
lives.
police lives.
And I
And
agree.
Nobody's
And you know what's
questioning-
amazing about
nobody's
that?
questioning those lives.
Yes, they are every single day because of the simple fact they don't get the benefit of their humanity. Because you can go out there and there are many things that you can do and get shot while being black in this
Let me ask
country.
you this.
And that is a point, and that is a fact.
That's
All I'm
your
saying.
Let me
That's
ask you a
not a
question.
He has
viewpoint.
a
Let me ask
different
one question.
viewpoint.
If all this was happening under 8 years of a Trump organization, a Trump administration, we'd be blaming it on him. Obama's getting a pass.
Obama's
And you
getting
know
explain
it.
that.
No,
Now,
people
say
are-
more.
He doesn't
You just
address
can't say
people.
that. He doesn't address it.
Pass. Let me tell you something.
No, go ahead,
All
explain
the
that.
stuff
I
wanna hear what-
history- hold
I
on,
wanna hear
all the
why.
stuff y'all
Explain
read
what
about
you're
it-
saying.
All the stuff y'all read about in history books, I lived it. I was born in the 50s. I was raised in the 60s. My very first experience with police was getting beat up by cops when I was 11 years old. So all the stuff y'all read about, I lived through it.
So
and
what
I'm
you
seeing
saying
the
about-
same conditions being repeated now under this Democratic administration. In the 60s, blacks couldn't get an education, blacks couldn't get jobs, blacks were rioting in the streets, and blacks were getting beat up by the police. And here it is, 2016, blacks can't get jobs. Our graduation rate is lower it's been since 1963. We're getting beat up by the police, and we're rioting in
How
the
about
streets.
this? How about
With
this?
8 years
How about
of a
this?
Democratic
What
administration.
if I gave you those facts, which I will just give you those facts for the purposes of the discussion because we run a long time. How's Donald Trump going to fix them? What are his plans?
It's not about
No,
Donald
it
Trump.
is.
No,
It
it's
is.
not.
No, you
It's
just
not-
said it.
Listen. It's
just
no
said it.
more-
Get a
break on
no,
this,
right
guys.
now,
I mean,
this is
come on.
about Barack Obama. This ain't about. This conversation doesn't need to be had with Donald Trump. It needs to be had on
And it's been
Pennsylvania
had with
Avenue.
Barack Obama because
then
you know
what's the
because you
result?
know
Black
Barack
folks still
Obama-
getting shot every week.
That's why we're talking about reforming the
Let
criminal
me ask you a
justice
question.
system.
Why
Did
doesn't
you-
Barack Obama simply say, "Why don't y'all stop?
Y'all who?
Y'all black folks that's killing people."
What do you?
Listen, why
you just
doesn't
say that in front of the world?
Listen,
Hang on, hang on.
Just say that in front of the world.
listen.
Say that again
Why
so the world
Why
can-
doesn't Barack Obama make it a point to say, "I want this to stop"?
What? To
Please
stop?
stop. You know what, man?
No, what? Tell me. Use your words. What?
No, tell him.
What? No, what?
You know what.
Go ahead.
What?
What's been happening in the last 2 weeks?
What? You act like Barack Obama's been condoning.
him talk.
No, what?
Go ahead.
You see the way Donald Trump does rallies? If I'm Barack Obama, I'm going city to city to city to where I think the hotbeds are and saying, please, let's stop this violence. Let's stop this confusion. Let's stop this disunity. Let's stop this. Let's not do this.
What has he been
Let's
saying?
not do this.
What has he been
Let's
saying?
not do this.
And what
He's
has he-
been reactive and not proactive.
He's been very proactive. I mean, Barack Obama.
Name one
has-
proactive thing he's done.
First of all, Barack Obama has brought these groups together so that we can
What
put together
groups?
a plan.
What groups?
The Ferguson Commission, so that you could talk about
What
reforming
groups has he brought
the
together?
Ferguson Commission.
He brought them
so
together with who?
So that is the name of the commission.
Okay,
It's the
Ferguson
21st century
Okay,
criminal
and what
justice
does it do?
reform.
What does it done?
And they actually laid out a plan to reform the criminal
And what
justice.
and what good did it
Oh,
do?
they're implementing that throughout
And
the
what
country.
good did it do?
It's doing. I mean, what,
And so we have
what
a
do you-
funeral for 5 dead cops after that, huh?
Do you think the problem is that you think that I can't pray for them and pray for the people who die in Minneapolis and Baton Rouge? the
It's
same
not
way?
working.
So what is Donald Trump going to do? Answer the question.
Hey, when he's president, we'll find out. What do you mean? Answer
do you
the question.
mean we'll find out?
I don't speak for everything Donald Trump
All right,
does.
That's a sad commentary, bro.
It's not.
I gotta go. Thank you.
I don't speak for everything Donald Trump does. That's
If
what
you're not
Donald
up
Trump
at
is gonna
watching
do.
this show at 2 in the morning,
talking about?
you ain't nothing.
Like I know
Listen
everything
out.
Donald Trump is gonna do. You know everything. You know everything Hillary Clinton's gonna do.
I'm a pressure.
Do you know everything Hillary Clinton's
Let me
gonna
tell
do?
you one thing that I
Do
promise.
you know
Like,
everything
can I
Hillary
promise you
Clinton's
something?
gonna
Can I
do?
promise you
no,
something?
you don't. So stop.
I'm gonna promise you that I'm gonna challenge her on
Do
issues
you
that
know
are near and dear to my heart every single day.
everything she's going to do?
I know something.
Do you know everything?
We'll be right back.
Okay, then.